justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to this May 9th Board of Commissioners meeting. First item is public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right on. We have Dr. Matt Rhoda, Georgia Everett, and Dr. Aaron Body for the, I'll call it the Career Tech Center Ivy Tech building proposal discussion. And I'll also note for the viewers, we have the Mayor of Frankfort, Mayor Sheets here, who's in attendance for this, I'm assuming, yeah.
Sorry, saw one of my son's friends. I'm Aaron Bowdy, obviously from Ivy Tech, and I just want to give you kind of a brief history and how we got to what Matt's going to discuss. So we, through the generosity of the community, and we've had this site here, and it has been awesome. One thing, we love the Frankfort community. It has been so welcoming to us, and just the community of itself has been so awesome to us. And so I want to reiterate, what we do in Clinton County will not change. What we're trying to look at is the building management and being able to keep it sustainable. So as we look at, we have a full-time person here that, and we actually have two full-time people that we pay with benefits and everything, 150, 200,000, then the building cost, but we only bring in about 50,000 in revenue, and it's been shrinking because what's happened over time is you have online education. When we first started here, there was no online education, so they stopped wanting to take business and English here. They want to take it in their living room at 11 o'clock at night, and we can't stop that. They're going to do what they're going to do. They'll do it with another school if they don't do it with us. So as we look at that, we see all of our sites kind of transitioning to serving the high school. So even this Stacy Dallahan that's been here, and she's done an amazing job. Anybody that knows Stacy knows she's got a ton of energy. She's tried to get students in, dragging them in, and we still just couldn't get enrollment going on adults. Because if it's not lab-based, where they have to be there working on equipment or doing medical stuff on site, they'll take it in their living room. They work, they got kids, it's just how the markets went. So looking at that, we started talking to the schools about the opportunity, and we were working on a career center here locally, and we think that this site would be an awesome spot to work in partnership over the next 2 years is kind of what we're thinking about, and seeing if, I won't steal Matt's thunder, but see if the high school can get the Career Center model going, because it's kind of what we got there now already. Georgia teaches classes out there for the high school. CNA is out there for the high school. We're starting a maintenance, industrial maintenance program out there where we bought the lab equipment. And similar to what we saw in Crawfordsville, that was the threshold. We got to get lab equipment here. And if we don't have lab equipment, no one's going to take classes, but you have to spend $500,000 to get lab equipment here. You can't continue to pay the people. So that was really the issue. So we are going to put a lab in there in partnership and do that. We're going to continue to teach the adult classes here and do everything. We're just trying to get out of the administration of the building. That's it. Ivy Tech's not leaving. We're not going to run any less classes here. We're just trying to transition it to where the activity's at.
Matt Rhoda, Superintendent, Community Schools of Frankfort, and we are the LEA for the Wildcat Creek Co-op, which incorporates all of the high schools in Clinton County. As you know, and you've heard, we've been trying to raise money to build a career center. That's been in different locations. At one point, we also had daycare involved in that as a cradle to career, where when we kind of hit the wall with raising money, Dr. Body came to me right before spring break and said that they were looking to maybe partner with us to take over, to come in and take over the building with Career Center. And sometimes when things are too good to be true, they are, but this was quite a blessing to really drop in our lap. We know that the building is owned by the county and the city, and so that's why we're here today. We want to make sure that you're informed of what's going on and get your blessing moving forward, and then working with you long term. The short term is Ivy Tech will continue to pay for the operations through December of 2026. And at that point, in December of 2026, in January 2027, either the co-op, and we'll have to talk about that as a co-op, or the Community Schools of Frankfort would like to, work with the county and the city about how we can move forward, either leasing the building or taking over ownership with that. But, that's all a matter of working with you on that. So I just kind of wanted to give you short-term and long-term hopes and goals. And bottom line is we will just be blessed to have that building to be able to serve the kids in Clinton County. George is going to share in a minute just what we're going to place in there. But we've already, as Dr. Body shared, we already have a couple shared programs in the Ivy Tech building that operate during the school day right now, and we're looking to try to expand that and possibly down the road expand that even more for more programs. Obviously, that will take some capital improvements for that, but that's down the road. Right now, next school year in the fall, we would like to operate the whole building and in partnership with Ivy Tech running adult classes in the evening, and we've had a great partnership with Ivy Tech all along. We want to continue that, but I wanted to just share today what our short-term and long-term plans are for that. I've spoken with Jordan already, and with the permission of the commissioners and city, we're going to speak to the city Board of Works on Monday to inform them about what our plans are, and like to start some meetings to be able to look at what will it look like when Ivy Tech is finished with their obligation payments on the building, and what will that look like for the co-op or Community Schools of Frankfort. So I'll let Georgia share what will go in there next year, and then questions from you about the building.
Thanks, Matt.
Hi, I'm Georgia Everett. I am the CTE Director or Executive Director of Wildcat Creek. So the programs that we currently have is our CNA license, our nursing program. So we would continue to have that program there. With partnership with Ivy Tech, we're building an advanced manufacturing facility on site. So that will come in next school, or the 25-26 school year, because to get the equipment and everything. But next year we hope to bring in our building trades program that usually builds the house throughout Clinton County. They'll have a classroom space that they can meet in, because right now it's kind of, they go a little bit everywhere depending on the weather days and things like that. So this gives them a home base for them to have classes when they're not present. Information technology is a program that we started this year that's currently housed, so we'll continue to house that program there. And we were also going to bring in criminal justice. And so, again, we have a classroom space currently at Frankfort, but it seems like as needs change, it also gets moved every single year. So it's going to provide some stability where they have a place to go that's the same every year. And then with the change in diploma requirements, there's a lot more of work-based learning and capstone. And so we are looking at how do we serve our students. So we'll house that program too for those students in the county through this facility. So it's going to see a lot more students coming in and out. I will have my office there, as well as my work-based learning coordinator. So we'll have two people there to kind of help along with the teaching staff that's around. So I think we'll see a lot more use of the building in the day-to-day by making this transition. And then, as Dr. Rhoda mentioned, we hope to build more programs as time goes on and with the space that we have available. We'll also probably house our CTE teacher PD. We do that in the summer with teachers, and it helps give them a nice place to go that's not just one school, so they don't feel like one school's being favored over another, and that we have this kind of neutral ground to be. So, and then in the 25-26 school year, we also hope to use the lab space that's there for the biotech program that we're partnering with Ivy Tech as well, called the Lilly Scholars. And so this year it's starting off, and it'll be housed at Frankfort, but we want to move it to that lab space because it is such a great space there on the site.
I just wanted to add two things real quick, because there's two main things that will impact the citizens of the county. One is when it transitions to the high school, you take Ivy Tech tuition out of it. See, right now we charge, if the high schoolers come and it's our instructor at the site, we charge them full tuition rate. And either the school corporation pays it on their behalf, or you would have the kid pay it, but someone's paying that tuition. Once it transitions to the high school, it's free. It's dual credit. So it really does help the folks there. Now they're paying tuition out there and they won't be in the future. So that's a big one. The work-based learning, Georgia talked about, we just had a big powwow in Lafayette about how this is going to get done for 16 and 17-year-olds. Part of it is putting pressure on the employers, but they have corporate offices. We think we're going to have to set up a training apparatus in each community, and it may be at the site to where we can run these kids safely and bring the employers in there, not on their floor, if they're just not going to allow it. If they're just not going to allow a 16-year-old on their floor, we're going to have to take them somewhere where they can interact in a manufacturing type environment with the supervisors from NHK, Frito, even if it's not at that site, because it's a requirement, because you're going to have kids go on the academic pathway or they're going to be on the CTE pathway. If they go on the career pathway, they have to have work-based learning experience to graduate, substantial hours. So we're going to have to work this out, and it may be working in partnership with the school to say, this room's our training area. We'll schedule the employers who come in here that won't let the kids on the floor.
Great. Gentlemen, you guys have any questions or comments?
So at this point,
Okay, so, I think it's a great idea. Like you said, it almost sounds too good to be true, so we'll see what maybe arises with it. But from the purpose of keeping Ivy Tech in the community, growing the career tech side, and not having to invest, millions of dollars for a facility that we already have in place, that does need maybe some upgrading, but at least the shell is there and set in place. So, I guess with that, I will ask if we can at least get a little bit of a blessing here for them to move forward, so that they have that, and then we can work through the paperwork. I know one thing, right now, how it's kind of structured, the county and city are the landlords, and then we, I believe, rent it to CEF, who then subleases it to Ivy Tech, but I'm not sure if CEF is still around. I haven't heard, so that was on my list to check. So
The guy's name,
Stan Smith, yeah, I'm gonna call him and I'll find out. But so we may do some new paperwork, get it done this summer,
Okay.
heading into the fall. So
Sounds good.
It's
All right.
good with
Thanks for
everybody, so.
allowing us to come and share with you today.
Thank you. We're excited. Thank you. All right. Good. Good?
Yeah.
You guys good?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Appreciate it. Steven, you're on. From the dugout to the deck here.
Do I get some walk-up music right here?
New building, we'll work on that.
That'd be great.
All right.
This will be real quick. Just our Medicaid reimbursements. We're a few years behind. It's just kind of how the state and government works on this Medicaid project. But we'll be getting reimbursed $53,000, $53,089.85, not including the fees that we owe Malcon and Myers and Stauffer. All in all, it'll be a little over $40,000 that we'll be getting back. The contract was digitally sent to Jerry, so you've got that in your email. For me, the only contract that I actually have has my name on it. They should have sent you Jerry, you should have the one that actually has Jordan's name on it, so. Any questions on that?
Yep. Yep. So we need to approve the Malcon, is this for this year?
21.
21.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'll just offer the reminder that in July of '22 is when the Medicaid fee increase went up, and so we have yet to see that actual increase in our reimbursement. So
Okay. So
We're
this,
looking forward
this
to
is
that.
for 23, 24, and 25. The agreement I have. Yep. Contract ended in December 31st, 23, 24, and 25. Do we need another one?
okay, you're supposed to also get the reimbursement approval. We'll get that to you. Sorry.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we can go ahead with this one?
Yes, you need that as well.
All right.
Yes.
All right, very good. Questions?
no.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm good. Entertain a motion to have myself sign the Malcon consulting agreement.
So moved. Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0. We'll get that one signed.
All right, I'll get that other
Get
one
the
to
other
you.
one, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Nope, no
Thanks.
problem. Thank you.
So you don't have to sign this one.
Yeah, I will. I'll just do that. We'll do it all as one. Beth, you're up. You're ready.
I'm Beth Keeney, recorder. I would like to ask approval if the commissioners will approve an additional cost of $365.56 on a plat book repair. The gentleman that came, he counted the pages wrong, so there's more expense involved, and so just wanted to run it through you to make sure it was all right, and it's a place for your signatures.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Tell him to count better next year.
That's right. I should.
$300.
All right, Renee, with your console project, quotes, proposals.
Months in the making. We wanted to make sure, we kind of had put the brakes on it a few months ago, wanting to make sure as we move forward, because we've not done any updates or anything like that since we built in 2010 and opened in 2011. So we wanted to make sure that we had everything in place that we wanted to take us well into the future. So just for those that don't know, last year during budget process, we added a 5th console. So we are going to get new consoles, replace the 4 we have, adding a 5th position, and then adding 4 additional personnel as well. Currently, when we are at full staff, we have 4 positions, work a minimum of 3. This would put, when we can get everybody hired, we would have 5 on a shift. So in all of that, during the budget process, I had a budgetary quote for the console, so I will start with that to begin with. So I have budgeted in my budget for this year only $100,000, but once we started getting everything that we needed to get put together. So the first quote that I got that I had submitted to you, and that is from Watson, and that is for our consoles. It was for $132,930.20. So, but that we did more than one visit to Hancock County. Tim went with us a second time to make sure he understood everything on the IT side. Hancock County has the same consoles that we are going to be getting. So we wanted to make sure that we had all of that in place. So moving forward with some of this, we have some lighting issues currently with our lights right now that we are dealing with. So we had 2 electricians come in and give quotes. So we needed additional, we needed to replace some lighting that we have. We needed to add a few things. So on those estimates, we had one for $12,473 and one for $8,925. And so I would like, on the electrical, I would like approval for Aaron Congleton Services for the electric on that. Then, while we are doing this, we felt it was time to do some painting down there, like nothing has been painted or anything like that. And we have some spots in the walls, you know, and things like that. I had 2 painters come in. One gave me a written quote. Another one, I'd asked for a written quote from him, and he never did get that to me. So I would like to, for approval, custom painting by Leo, $2,850 on that. I have, because this is going to be a big project where before the consoles are put in, it's a 2-week process. We have to do tear down first of a couple of positions because we have to continue to continue running there. We're also, during that time, we're going to also utilize the backup as well at Frankfort PD. So we also have to have InDigital, who is our phone company, they will have to come and install the 5th position, which we had already ordered last year. But they will have to come in and tear out their computers and all of that and reinstall at the 4 positions we have. So there is a quote from that with InDigital for $5,760. Raycom will do the same thing with all of our radio positions. That was $1,250. Tim, we had lots of IT things. We have additional monitors we're going to be getting. As I think you all know, we have, as an example, one of the monitors on our wall currently shows like our door, things like that, because dispatch is going to be moving. We're going to be in a horseshoe. Not everybody's going to be facing the front anymore. So we're adding one of those positions. We're adding a monitor for our doors at each of the consoles. And also knowing that moving forward with the annex, you will probably be putting in cameras there. So that will free that up on the wall to be able to utilize that monitor for cameras at the annex. We're also going right now, if you came down to dispatch, you would see 3 keyboards, 3 mice. It's crazy. You know, you grab the wrong mouse. So we looked at, Tim had gotten a black box, which will consolidate all of the mice and the keyboard. So that was, Tim gave us a quote and he increased it just a little bit because depending on when things are purchased, like prices can fluctuate. So everything IT-wise that we would need for this was $19,038.15. And then finally, the last, our power phone, which is our pre-arrival instructions. So we had to add a 5th license for that, for the new position. So that is $6,000 just for the licensing, and then it will be just our continuing software maintenance each year. So with all of that being said, so that total, which using the console, the additional that we need for the console of $32,930.20 would be $80,773.95 that I would need an additional. We still have from the extra lit that we got last year that we've not used, knowing that we would, the extra payment. So we have $25,293.06 to go towards this project, leaving us with $55,480.89. And and I have the money in, it's just not budgeted, but because we have not hired those 4 positions, I have the money that I could transfer, even though I think it would still need to be an additional. But I can take that money that's already budgeted out of our salary for dispatch and create a new line item. So I wouldn't have to take from our cash balance because we have money in the budget. It's just not been utilized, but it's not in the right.
Repurposing it.
Yes, yes.
It would just be a transfer.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, and Britt and I had briefly talked as well of like creating a line item that is like a 2024 refurbish or whatever we want to call it, so that it keeps everything, so we know exactly
Cost
what we're
tracking.
spending in the project. So, but I'm looking for any questions. I know I had forwarded you all of these documents last week and as well as like the pictures from the consoles and everything and what the drawings would look like and things like that. So any questions you have for me?
No, well done.
I think the conceptuals, which everyone else can't see, do justice for what this will be when it's done, and
Yes.
it's well deserved, and
Yes,
it's been
yes.
a while.
I
So
mean,
it's time for upgrade.
It's served us well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has served us well, but it is time to take us into the future. And like I said, I didn't think we would still be working on this, but we kind of put the brakes on because we wanted to make sure we did it right. We didn't want to get halfway in the middle of the project, think, we didn't think of this. So I think we've got, between Chris and I and our dispatchers, because they've been great, they've been trying like different things out. They've been trying the black box. We have one so they can use. So, and Tim's help, I think we're squared away now.
Good deal.
So,
Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the presented quotes, because there's, Renee read through them, and we have some of them that
Yeah.
need signed. So if everyone's good with it, or if there's more questions or concerns.
I'm actually good with it. I would make the motion that we go forward with the quotes that were presented and have been logged in, and the transfer amount of the $55,000. I think that's an excellent way of doing it, simply getting it from one spot to
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
But I'll give you kudos for getting everything put together. It's a lot of work.
it's been a group effort for sure, been a group effort, so.
I'll make that motion note.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Motion carries 3-0.
Okay.
Thank you,
Real
Renee.
quick, I just want to say, I know you have department heads, but since I'm up here, the last 2 weeks, Stephen and I, we had talked, our personnel, we wanted to, so EMS has been coming down to dispatch for a couple weeks, all of their shifts. We just wanted, EMS never comes into dispatch, and we're all, both sides, we're just another voice on the other end of the radio. And so EMS has been coming in for a couple hours, like all their shifts kind of took turns. It's been really good. I texted him though the first 2 days. I'm like, maybe we need to rethink this because they came down and it hit the fan both days. Like we were swamped, but they got to see a different side of things. And we hope to eventually be able to have our personnel go out to EMS as well for a few hours, just to, just to get to know each other and to really truly understand like what we're doing on the other side of the radio and see those things take place. And then our people will be able to eventually do that too. So it's been great. I appreciate Stephen so much and their personnel and what they do, but it's been really good for everybody, so.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm sure it helps putting, faces to names.
It does.
too.
You hear the voice, you know the voice,
yeah.
but yeah, so, but I think that's all I have unless you have anything else.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right, Rick, you're up. We have a few different things. We have an NDOT recommendation for acceptance, a BFNS consultant agreement, road resurfacing advertisement bid, and then just your general update,
Doesn't matter where I start.
wherever you want to.
Bridge 60.
Do we have?
Talk about.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
This is Bridge 60.
It's in Kilmore.
Okay.
It's a steel bridge. It's historical, and we can't tear it out of there. 2 years ago, I applied for federal aid to do a rehab project on Bridge 60, and it got denied by the federal government. So we just kind of sat back and let it go for a little bit. And we've decided that we need to go ahead and do this project now because it still has a good road surface. We've made some repairs to the pier in the middle, so it doesn't have water inspection anymore. We got out of that. And I'd like to do Bridge 60 out of our pocket to repair it. They got to replace some steel in it, and then they got to do the sandblasting and painting, which that will be the biggest expense because all that needs to be caught. Can't let none of that hit the ground. So
How much do you think it'll be, the repair?
no more than 600,000. I'm hoping it comes in a lot less than that. Because if you go down there and look at the bridge, it doesn't need that much. It needs, basically it needs painted and sandblasted.
And you have that in the bridge fund?
Yes, I will have it.
Will have it.
Because I'm not going to ask for any multi-plates or anything next year.
Okay. When will it be for 25 then? Or do you want?
Yes.
Okay.
But hopefully.
Yeah, we have to get started on it.
Hopefully they can start on it,
Sooner.
and it should be something they could do through the winter.
Okay.
Of course, painting, you can't paint in the winter, so, but anyway,
Sandblast.
yes. So, anyway,
Okay. Questions, gentlemen?
I think it's a good idea, Rick, that we get started with it so that it doesn't dilapidate and become harder and more expensive for
and
us.
I'll just
Easy
throw
to
it,
fix it now.
I'll just throw it out there. The only bridge that I'm gonna ask for federal aid for 25 is on Mulberry Jefferson Blacktop in between 6 and 700 West. We need to get that bridge,
What number?
51, I believe,
51. Okay.
okay?
All right, so we need a motion to move forward with the.
I'll make the motion. I would like to see us go forward with the Kilmore Bridge and its repair in the presentation of the 600,000 or less.
Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0.
And I'm ready for community crossing.
Okay.
Um,
So are we.
This is advertised for phase one. This would be Michigan Town Blacktop, and then also 100 East from Washington Avenue to 100 North.
Okay.
Just need commissioner's signature so we can sign off with this going. It's on the
Thank you.
second page.
Yep. All right, so a motion to advertise the bid for the community crossing project.
So moved.
Second. All right, motion carries 3-0.
Okay, community crossings, the second phase comes out in July 1st.
Okay.
You have to have everything turned in before the end of July. The roads that I told the commissioners before I was going to pave out of pocket, I'm just going to pave them out of the second round, which should be 100 north from the highway barn to 100 east. It'd be our section of 0 from, I don't know what that is, Blinn or whatever it is, to 200 west. And then I wanted to do another one, I can't think what it was now. Oh, 425 from 75 in Kilmore to 0. We need to widen that out a little bit.
Okay.
I wanted to do those 3 roads. I have the paper, and then I also have, I just brought one copy.
Jerry will make one. We probably have one, or she'll make a copy.
Kenny
Which one? I'm lost in the
had everything.
So this is the consulting agreement to move forward with the second phase of community
Yes.
crossings. All right, so I'll entertain a motion for that.
Motion.
Second. All right. Okay. All right, motion carries 3-0 to use BFNS for the consulting of CCMG Part 2.
Greg and I could have signed off on this. I feel better if the commissioners sign off on it. Bridge 67, which we just opened up,
Yep.
final inspection.
And you're good with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks nice.
I'll go ahead and say that 55 is open right now. We need to do a ribbon cutting on that sometime. I didn't know what you guys want to do. Trying to,
You sent us some dates. I've been busy, haven't looked at them, but
yeah, I know.
maybe
I understand.
we'll get you something here.
And I didn't know what you guys thought about adding some council members if they wanted to come out.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll go ahead and send out an email to Alan Dunn.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move forward. Motion to approve the final inspection report that was presented here.
Second. Or, so moved.
So move. Second.
Good.
Bridge 115 is, first phase is done.
Stage 1 has been submitted to NDOT.
It's been submitted to NDOT.
Okay.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about summer hours for the county highway department. 9-hour days and then 4 days on or 4 hours on Friday. May 27th to September 3rd.
Good with me. We've done that in the past and seems to work, so, yep.
Okay, I think that's all I have, other than the ribbon cutting, and then we need to do scoring after the commissioners meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Rick?
Good.
Covered.
Thanks, Rick.
Covered everything. Thank you.
We're done spreading gravel. We got our gravel road spread. We're trying to haul the stone in that we didn't get hauled in this winter because everybody was broke down. So, and they're still shutting us off, but we're getting it a little at a time.
Okay. Thank you.
And they're shooting calcium. They're also shooting calcium on the gravel road, so it should be done, probably pretty close to being done Friday.
Good.
Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Next is Liz Stitzel we have LUPAC 524-376, which would be ordinance 2024-05, and then also the area plan update. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning. Okay, so I've got LUPAC 05-24-376. So the Plan Commission met, oh man, it's been a long week, Tuesday on Election Day, and they voted to favorably recommend a set of amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance forward to all of the participating jurisdictions. So these ones that you're receiving will affect only the unincorporated areas. The other participating jurisdictions each have to make a separate decision on them. We'll be taking those to them over the next month at each of their next meetings. So I'm going to try to just briefly go through each of them. I forwarded the LUPAC, but I also forwarded a red line version, which hopefully was helpful in
Yeah.
seeing what's,
Just go through and summarize
Yeah,
them.
I was going to summarize. Yep, no problem. So there's a change. It's actually a cleanup. Most of these are typos on disabled vehicles definition to match the rest of the ordinance and state law at 20 days. We added a credit in the buffer yard section, recognizing that if you already have existing trees, there's not necessarily a need to add yet more trees. In legal nonconformings, we clarified something about what happens with porches built in recent history that impede into setbacks. On table I-1 for building houses in the A1 district, we corrected a typo where it told us simultaneously to measure both from the boundary and the center point of a proposed lot, which was difficult. Table G, driveway access, we eliminated curb return radius requirements and instead defaulted to all of the various city, town, and state and county entities that handle roads to determine what those radiuses should be on a case-by-case basis. In the overlay, there's a typo. This was actually found updating the city's Unified Development Ordinance because both ordinances have the West State Road 28 overlay in it, and it was on our list to correct as well. Just took some time to get there. There's a typo that is corrected in the confined feeding section where 7 was mistyped as a 2. It returns to what it always was, which is a 75-foot setback from right-of-ways. Table I-2, we just cleaned up. There was a missing category for how many splits you could make out of land that's more than 212 acres. So we cleaned that up so that now you could tell what you're supposed to do. In permits, processes, and procedures, we corrected a couple typos. And then we've added at our attorney's advice phrase that just makes it really clear what we already do, that if another governmental entity has an ordinance that a project is in violation of, we're not going to issue a permit against that. There's the next several edits all involve an issue where the definition was changed for how we referred to a setback, but there were some places in the ordinance where the matching change was missed. And so we found those sort of accidentally in a plan commission meeting a few months ago. We're correcting that. And then in the airport overlay, this was also found during the amendment process for the city of Frankfurt for their Unified Development Ordinance. Again, it's a matching ordinance both jurisdictions have. There was some missing language in the airport overlay about how you handle the airport authority when you have a wildlife attractant. We figured out with the airport what that was supposed to be, and we were inserting it. A clarification on accessory structures. This also was discovered, similar language in both jurisdictions. The city had somebody trying to put in a accessory structure for a contractor's business and claiming that construction purposes meant they could do that. So we've just clarified this clause refers to a structure that you're storing materials for building your own residence on the same lot, not for construction of anything anywhere. And finally, we've made an edit in again, in the permitting section that makes it clear that the list of things that are exempt from permits do not exempt you from the requirement of floodplain permits that state law requires. And if you've got more questions, I'm happy to go through them, but that's the gist of it. And I hope that's helpful.
Okay. Any questions? That, all right. Entertain a motion to accept the changes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion carries 3-0.
And I have the original. And yeah, no rush. You guys can just process that. Somebody can let me know when the original is ready. Jordan, do you want me to go on to the next thing while you were signing, or wait a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just have a boatload here, and I don't want to hold you guys up. Okay. Actually, I think you announced that in order. You wanted me to do the update next. Here we go. Take one.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So something that I try to do at the end of each year is I try to compile sort of a synopsis of what's happened for the year before. So this report regards 2023, And we divided out for the 5 participating jurisdictions that we have. We also run Frankfurt's numbers for them and give them a copy because we share one computer system, and so we're able to collaborate all that data. So I'm going to not go through every single point here, but I'll kind of summarize. All 6 jurisdictions that share the computer system had a slight increase in the number of permits issued to 1,290 in 2023. Clinton County issued 31 new homes, and that was a slight increase. Frankfurt issued 14 in 2023. Subdivisions, there were 10 new subdivisions created, supplying 16 new lots, and we count a subdivision as created when it's recorded, not when it's heard by the Plan Commission, because that's when you can actually build a house on it. Then we totaled a new valuation, so everybody except for Michigan Town, which we don't have any numbers on, the total valuation we had in our system that permits were issued for was $310,003,301 and an odd 29 cents. I will note that is probably low because we can only work off the data that's in. So if a valuation doesn't get entered, or if a citizen refuses to provide it, we can't deny a permit over that. So there's places where, when I compile this data, I notice when there's sections when there's something missing. So I always tell people that those numbers are actually probably a little bit higher, but it still gives you a pulse. I break that down to what's Frankfurt and what's Clinton County so that the 2 largest jurisdictions can see their numbers. And then I break out commercial and industrial. And I would also note that nobody likes to see a decrease, but I anticipate 2024's numbers will be a decrease, and that's because as a community, all of our jurisdictions, we are small enough that a single very large project can move our numbers one way or another. And these numbers still include things happening in the solar farm, which had higher valuations. So unless we have a very large project come in either in Frankfurt or in the county, I would anticipate these reports for 2024 will be lower, but that doesn't mean that we're not healthy. It just means that there was a different mix of projects and values. I do a section on violations. So you can kind of see as of when I did this report, which has been about a month ago, we had 85 open unresolved cases. And then I break that down kind of by year. And as of that point, we had opened 6 cases in 2024. I think we have more than quadrupled that at this point. It's gotten warm, so we've been getting a lot of calls. And then it's actually a commissioner's case that is our oldest case at the moment that we have on our records, which is the Michigan Town Roadhouse. And then I break out Board of Zoning Appeals just because it's interesting to people how many cases were heard, and I break that down by which jurisdictions they were in. I do not have Frankfurt's numbers in that. That's just the other 5. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. We just try to present it so that you guys get a little bit of the bigger picture. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to answer those.
Thank you.
In terms of other business from area plan, I've got several items. This first one, I'm going to hand you guys paperwork on so you can look through it while I explain it. This is looking to pass it down. This is a house on 100, and the reason I'm bringing this to you before we cite it is it's one of those that's kind of in a gray area, and I feel like you should determine what you want to do under your ordinance, not have staff lock you into a decision that we probably are overstepping authority on. So this particular house has been declared unfit by the health department, but not because of failed septic. It has an issue with potable water, an issue with house conditions. They gave it 15 days to deal with the issues. They've not been dealt with. We've been getting complaints. There is, I talked to Rodney before the meeting, they do not believe that the person who was in it has moved back into it against the order. So that's not in play, but we've been asked if there's anything else that we can do, and we of course could cite it under the unsafe building ordinance because it does have an unfit order on it by the health department. That's one of the criteria that the ordinance allows you to do that. I did include a picture of the house. It's not a super high-end house, but it's also not collapsing, so I wanted to make sure you guys could see accurately what that looks like. And your option is just, you could wait, kind of see what happens, or if you wanted to take action, you could direct us to go ahead and cite an order to, again, duplicate the health department's order to repair, except that if they don't, we can then start to place fines that add up as tax liens and then ultimately do work and put that as a lien against, or it would probably for us would be a tear down if it just continued to sit uninhabitable and deteriorate. But I wasn't comfortable directing staff to just go ahead and cite this without your input, because I feel like it is kind of a gray area in terms of, is it bad enough that you would want to do that or not? It certainly fits the definition of the ordinance. There's no gray area there, since it has an unfit order.
Are you looking for some support,
you-
Rodney?
Well, we always collaborate with code enforcement when we go out on call like this, and they just weren't able to accompany us that day that we went with Adult Protective Services. You have the individual that's habitating is 84 years old. Besides the potable water issue, there was no permanent heat source there. They were using propane tanks to do a wall unit, big 4-foot tall ones. So what, our order is one in which we need to see some sort of change in that, or get whoever's living in it out of there. So we worked with one of the family members in Adult Protective Services to make sure she had some place to go before we took action. It can be, our orders are ones that can be reversed. In other words, it's not, condemnation of it. But at this point, we're satisfied as long as someone's not living in there, except for some of the trash and things on the outside that we also would say should be addressed, just because it's in general harborage.
We're citing the junk and debris separately under the zoning ordinance. We've already got that in action. It was just the house side. And I would note, if we cite it, that's not an immediate condemnation from you guys either. It's going to be in order to repair. Your ordinance also has regulations about rat harborage and about living conditions that we can tie into. So the initial order would be one to repair. If it didn't get repaired and time went by and,
then we-
there would come the point where the question would be asked, should this be condemned? But yours also, as we know, all the way up to when we tear a house down, you can choose to not do it.
Yep.
That's within your power.
Yep.
The discussion with some of the siblings was they were going to try to get it
Okay.
mediated. And that's fine
But
as
this
long
says
as
by
we're-
April 30th, and I'm assuming that didn't happen.
It hasn't, I don't believe we haven't had any report
Okay.
that anything's changed.
Okay.
yet.
And we've had complaints called into us within the last week, so I also don't think anything has changed.
Okay.
And those are separate. I think it's the same people calling both offices, but I think they're just kind of bouncing back and forth, and none of us
Yeah.
can do exactly what they want. They're just trying to get where they want to go.
Report came from Adult Protective Services.
Okay.
So do we just want to mimic these? Is that what you're asking for us, just to order something that mimics what they've?
Yeah, so it's up to you. You could decide to just, what I said is we would bring it to you to see what your pleasure was. So you either be like, okay, whatever's happening now, let the health department deal with it. Let's just monitor it. Or you could say, okay, yep, it also does violate the unsafe building ordinance. It does have an order that it's unfit for habitation, so it qualifies for you to take action on. So then you could direct us as staff for your unsafe building ordinance to go ahead and post a letter on the site requiring the repairs and warning them that they're going to get liens, and eventually, action against them if they don't address those things. In which case we would start that process, but we didn't want to put you into that and then
Yeah.
come to you asking for liens
Right.
and you feel like, okay, this is not the way some of the others have been.
Asking them to do that stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll help.
It's all reasonable.
Yeah, all this is reasonable, so are you okay with that, Bert? Do you-
Yeah, I just noticed from the one picture that we're looking at, the home itself, we have a lot more homes in worse condition than that we've not addressed.
We do. I know of some too. We have 2 more we sent stuff out on that's being posted. They're falling, so there was no reason to bring them to you to ask what to do with something falling. But we have to, have a complaint, and then eventually, you have to vote, take bids, and actually tear it down. And in this, it's not an area plan commission thing, so we can't act independently. The plan commission volunteers our staff to help you. So if there's something that's not cited, let us know. We'll post it. If it's posted, it's just a matter of how aggressive the commissioners want to be in tearing it down or finding it.
Well,
I've got a couple others after this to talk about that are in that.
From the condition of that picture there, that's really
This is why I brought it instead of citing it.
negative home. Now,
Yep.
if inside, which we can't see, and the health department has made some issues, then I'm all for it. But, if we went around and took pictures of houses, that's probably a satisfactory home to get started in some place.
So this is exactly why we didn't simply cite it, even though we could pull parts out of the ordinance. We brought it to find out your pleasure on it, because neighbors are complaining of rat harborage, and we have other complaints being called in about conditions. it's not falling down.
Right.
So I didn't want to get in a situation where somebody went, nobody knew this was happening. So that's exactly why I brought it to you instead of just citing it.
If we cite it, it can maybe provide some motivation.
I think that's
to
a
get
great
things
idea.
Moving a little quicker, so.
I mean, it's a thin one, in my opinion. What we're citing it for is the internal things and the health conditions on the inside that are not,
And the rat harborage,
But-
which
but
your
you can see
ordinance
it from-
clearly says that a residence cannot be a rat harborage that's,
yeah.
you know, so yeah, we would cite it under that. And my recommendation on this one would certainly be tax liens if it doesn't comply, not, you know, I agree with you, that's why we brought you a picture of the house. We didn't want you to get the impression that it was collapsing in some way.
dilapidated. Yeah, okay, all right, we're good there, so we'll
Okay.
go ahead and cite it to
Try to get it
create
addressed.
motivation.
Yep, and we'll just pull the parts of the ordinance out that talk about those kinds of conditions, and it'll be a citation to repair,
Address
at
those.
least as, okay. Second item, this one's starting to look familiar. Ooh, I'm just gonna have to carry this.
Jefferson.
I'm gonna take one note, this is a swearing job.
Oh. Not Jefferson, I meant Manson.
So this is, this one is far worse than the last one we talked about. This one, we've talked about at several previous meetings, and you guys issued an initial fine of 100, which has been placed as a tax lien now by Tom Little's office. And then, actually, the last time around, we had just been busy. We thought we were doing a first lien. It was actually a second, but we did 100 a second time. We sent that bill through. It's unpaid. We sent it to Tom's. They're in the process of placing the tax lien. So this is actually the third time you've discussed it. So, the first time you do fines, your range is 100 to 250. The second time is 250 to 500, and the third time is 500 to 2,500. So this is just the continuing request to continue to place penalties against this if you wish to do so.
No,
It's not cleaned up. Kat just drove this. So these are recent photographs from this week.
Has there been any contact at all with the owners?
I mean, we've had them separately. They've, you know, we've had them through court on the zoning side, and have been unable, well, we've placed some pretty substantial fines. Those fines go not against taxes. We can't motivate, you know, that you have to pay them in order to keep your property. They go against the person. We have to pursue collection differently. So, the judge, I'm hesitant to quote the exact amount. It seems like it was $3,000 they were fined by Judge Hunter, but I may be off a little bit. I didn't look at that paperwork because it's a separate action. And he was told at that last hearing that this process was starting, and what the first date it would be discussed was, we've been sending him letters on each of the fines first, you know, and making sure he has time to come in and pay them. We have received, you know, some complaints that he is burning, which sometimes goes with these things. So we think, you know, there's probably some of that happening up there, but we don't have an ordinance on our side on burning, so that's not something, I mean, he just has to get it cleaned up. But it's definitely not clean. We continue to get neighborhood complaints, and I think we have one neighbor that's been petitioning to have their property taxes reduced because this is near them as well.
Instead of just adding on more money, we ought to just.
I agree.
Okay.
Why
Yeah,
fine again if they're not gonna, if obviously they haven't paid any fines, what's?
Well, I think the ultimate goal is when it
Hammer, we can
Yeah.
swing.
continues to go through taxes, that as it's not resolved and those fines are unpaid, that it would then push it to tax sale and it would get resolved a different way. I mean, I think that's the goal of the,
The quicker.
Yeah, it'd be less expensive. Because you'd have to file.
Foreclosure to
You would
it.
have to pay attorneys to do that, yeah.
Adding on more money isn't making any sense. I think it's time to, I would say foreclose on that or push the.
we can't foreclose, but we could look at, you know, it's not really a structure, but we could look at putting a notice to actually act and then place the lien for the cost of the cleanup
my
against the
point.
property.
Let's do
Yeah.
Yep, I can move forward with that.
okay,
You give that?
yep.
Yeah.
Any other items?
I just need to make a note here. Because with this many of them. All right, this is another one that's going to look familiar, and I'm bringing it to you because, again, I feel like one could argue this either way. Actually, I hand one to Tom. So this is Mr. Moore up in Forest, which I think we're all familiar with. We've got a tall grass complaint from the neighbor. Kat has verified these pictures. It's on the backs of the property. These pictures are where she previously has cited, although she said it's not as bad as what it has been previous years. But the neighbor is complaining that the grass is taller than 8 inches, which it is, but it's a very small area that is. So we could certainly post it and mow it. This was another one where I felt like one could argue either way. It's in the back of the property. And I felt like I should, especially given how much discussion there's been on this, I should bring it to you guys for your opinion. I'd rather be told you don't want to hear about it than cite it, and then you guys feel like when somebody comes to a meeting that this was more minor than what you intend to
Cited.
mow.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, and then I think that's the end of what I've got. In case anybody's asks you, we are continuing to work on the one in Manson. It's just that the posting gives them, I think, another week from now or so before they hit their deadline. We anticipate we'll be bringing it to you at the next commissioners meeting, but it was too soon to converse about it just yet.
Okay.
So is there anything else you have for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The Michigan Town Roadhouse, since we talked about it a moment ago, he did actually finally send me a bond, but it's in the wrong amount. So I have sent a note back to him that it's not adequate. But if that doesn't pull a permit here pretty quick, I do plan to bring it back again. And certainly if you guys feel otherwise, it's your ordinance and your prerogative, but.
Extremely short from what we asked.
Well, 125% of his estimate to repair is like 120,000, and he gave me a $10,000 note for,
The answer is.
so,
Short.
yeah. And
Yes.
so I didn't feel like I needed to bring that. I felt like that was disparate enough. I just told him
That
it
was
wasn't
my
gonna
ask.
work. So, all
Very
right.
good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to some old business. First item, we have the course and quote for the fairgrounds.
This is for the show arena, the maintenance of the sprinkler system, testing it, and the alarm system in there. And I believe the quote was for, I
Backflow
just had it
tip.
pulled up, yeah, for the backflow.
770.
775, thank
Yep.
you. So, that's on me, I missed it when we were going through with Corson, a couple years ago, or at least a year ago now. So anyway,
Okay.
that's just part of it.
Yeah.
If we don't have any choice, we're gonna have to pay somebody to do it, we might as well pay them.
Motion to pay.
Approve, motion approved.
Second.
Second, carries 3-0 here, so. Next item, Paul Philippi quarterly report. Hello. You're up.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've already turned in the amount that we're requesting. It's actually comes from state and federal funding. It just passes through the commissioners and then helps us pay the money that we've already, reimbursed us for the money we've already spent.
Sure.
About half of it
Okay,
is what they give us.
very good.
Motion to approve.
Excellent. Yes. Second.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item are the May pay apps for Envoy for the Annex and Courthouse. Go through those quickly. Let's see. For the Annex, there's a payment of $133,858.38. For the scoping and architectural design, $41,512.05. And then lastly, for the courthouse is $255,132.79.
Motion to approve pay app number 7.
Second.
Motion carries 3-0. Moving on to new business, the first one is, do you have a copy of it, is the hiring policy and procedure, which we had been working on with Britt's office just to have more clarity across all the offices. It has been sent out to everybody, but we probably need to just formally adopt that this is the policy. So it kind of goes through, I'm not going to read all of it, but there's a rehiring with changes to the job description and then a rehiring with no changes to the job description. No changes to the job description. Can get email consent from the commissioners and move forward that way. We provide some flexibility and we're not having to wait on meetings to get things approved that aren't seeing any change. So that's kind of the major one there. So any other comments with that?
Motion to adopt the changes.
And second, that's good.
All right, motion carries 3-0, and so everyone should have or will get a copy of that, so we're all on the same page. Next item is.
Is that a question, though? Is that the approval of 2 emails approving?
Yeah, so for rehiring without a change to their job description, if they receive 2 communications from 3 of us, they have 2 out of 3.
Good.
To move forward. The next item is the jail preventative maintenance for the chiller. Is that right, Sheriff?
Yes.
QPH. Pretty standard, $5,535 to do their annual maintenance over there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
I don't know if that needs it, but we'll give it. All right, now we're on to department heads. Chris,
Good morning, gentlemen.
good morning.
As you guys are aware, I'm going to the council meeting next week when we had the air handler coils go out. I'm paying half. They've agreed to the other half. While they were out there, they looked at our chiller, and there's a leak. And of course, R22 is now $1,600 a container, and they're going to need a new circuit. So I think it came up to, I emailed it to you, $8,588.
Yep.
I just wanted to go ahead. Obviously, we won't make it for this council meeting. I'll shoot for the next.
Okay.
Yep, so moved to approve.
Second.
All right, motion
All right,
carries.
thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? Steven, you're back up.
Quick update on the Acumed contract that I had emailed you guys all that we were working on. We're working with ESO right now to get a 10% discount with our medical record charting system to then be able to group that in with our Acumed contract. So Acumed will pay it, we'll get a 10% discount, and then we reimburse Acumed.
cool.
So we're trying to work that intricacy out right now. It's just taking a lot of time. So as soon as I have that contract, I'll send it to you guys. So just wanted to update you on that.
Good. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks. Anyone else? Sheriff?
Good morning. Just a couple things. Corson, I have a fire maintenance agreement as well, so I'll send that in an email to you.
Okay.
So you can look at it, and it's an annual service plan, and I think it's $6,500. I also have a quote for the electrical issues that we have in the jail, the corrections area. It's lighting, it's ballasts. So I have one quote, but I also need to add, and I think I've asked before, what other electrical companies we could use that is kind of a quick service for you guys that you already have pre-approved.
Skiles, Adams, there's another one or two. Campbell.
Campbell's.
So
Okay.
I know those 3 for sure.
I'm going to go ahead and, yeah.
Adams Electric,
I think they're in mechanics.
yeah, Mechanicsburg area.
I know, I can't even think of their name. I drive by it every day.
That's Adam in mechanics.
Is it Adams?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll get another quote. I'm going to supply this one to you,
It's Adams.
give you a fair idea on what it's going to cost. It's around $89.50 is what Congleton has, and we'll get the other, get you at least 2, maybe 2 more quotes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say get us another one, but if Congleton's doing stuff for dispatch, it may just be
Yes.
the synergy just to
Get it
have
all
them do it
done at
all.
once.
Better to do it.
Yeah.
I'll get you at least one more quote, hopefully before the end of the week,
Okay.
and then we'll try and get something moving on it. And that's really it. We have a couple things in the jail, the washer, clothes washer, has finally quit, and it's, I think it was around 15,000 to repair, and it's like 17,000 for a new. So we're gonna move forward with trying to find out. So we'll get with council and see that we're just gonna have to replace.
Might as well get a new one.
Absolutely.
For $2,000 more.
I will also, I'll also have quotes emailed to you today. I just got them this morning while we were sitting here in the meeting for the hail damage that came through the last go-round. So I'm truly just going to look at patrol vehicles that are being used every day and our pool vehicles that have to be used on a regular basis. And we'll kind of root out some of the things that are going to get maybe traded in or scrapped and look at some other things that we can do rather than spend the money on the repairs.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll try and sit down with you,
Yeah.
send you an email with all the quotes, and then we can kind of go through, and I'll try and highlight the ones that we definitely need repaired, and that's the trucks that guys and gals drive every day.
Yeah.
So,
That makes
all right.
sense. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anyone else? Rodney?
Morning, gentlemen. Record keeping item I wanted to get to you. Our administrative assistant reminded me I hadn't gotten you our annual report yet.
Thank you.
So I wanted to get you our copies of that.
How could you forget?
Well, it was in my folder. We've been so busy with job descriptions and everything else that she reminded me the other day that those are available and ready for you. We usually turn them in at the end of February for the state. She had some formatting issues with adding some new stuff this year. We have, I wanted to thank you again for getting the right of refusal in. We've got the new offices pretty well roughed in and are getting them finished up right now so our staff can move to those. I did want to ask permission to at least seek estimates for an addition on that building, just to at least have those available to you in the event we build that storeroom in the future here on that building, because we're out of storeroom. We're basically renting a little bit of extra space for that storeroom now off of Healthy Communities, and I have funding available, but I want to seek your permission to at least get quotes on a 30 by 35 addition onto that. Now,
Fine with me.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep.
thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, move on. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Weaver?
I've got a couple things to kind of update you with. One is I received some conversation and email in reference to the Farmers Bank, in which they're going to do a large remodeling of the Farmers Bank front building, and I'm really not quite sure what all. I do know that they're talking about having a large crane set up in the front for several days to move heavy equipment and move walls or whatever. So they're anticipating maybe 30 to 45 days of major construction at the front end of the Farmers Bank, that entire block. And they have asked both the city and the county to close. If I'm right, Mayor, I believe they're wanting to close Clinton Street on this side all the way from Jackson to Main Street.
Okay, so I talked yesterday, I've asked them to change that plan, so they have allowed us more parking spaces on the east and west side, but this is on the on the south side, right in front of Farmers Bank. The crane will be here, they say, for one day. They don't know the date yet, they have to get that set. So it looks like it's gonna be one day. I'll be shocked if it's one, maybe 2 days, that we're gonna have from Maine to Jackson, the whole street, because I forget, I think they have so many feet, clearance, so they
Yeah,
do
for
that.
safety
But they're
reasons.
doing a major renovation,
Yeah.
so, but they came back with a different plan, we're gonna look at it Monday night at Board of Works and see if we can get that approved for them.
Wow.
It's gonna be a major, it's gonna be busy.
So I think all of us need to be aware that it's happening, and I think we just leave it in the mayor and the Board of Works' hands to determine, what gets blocked off and what's not, and we can just do the best we can. So that's my opinion, is we just let them, whatever it is, it is.
Yep.
So sad thing is, obviously, we've got this blocked off, that blocked off, and it's,
Well, and there's gonna be some things that iron block.
Yeah.
An alley and possibly some of that street at some point too, so
yeah, get ready to hear it from the citizens because, you know, we're going to be like the state. Everything's detoured anymore. So, yeah. So anyway, that's one of them. And then at the same time, Sheriff, I want to make sure I got some communication from our insurance company in reference to them visiting you in the jail, Astra, and I've got that they were going to do it on the 15th of this month, May 15th. Have they reached out to you? Are you aware that they're coming?
I'm not aware, but they're welcome.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not sure who they reached out to, but I was told that they'd reached out to you, so
Okay.
I'm hoping there's been some communication.
It could be, they might be, talked to Natasha Douglas, or lieutenant there in the jail, but no worries, we're open
I'm-
24/7.
You know, I'm sure they want to do a visit, so at least you know now, and we'll keep our fingers crossed if they've communicated with somebody else.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll put it on my calendar.
Those are the only two things I have, Mr. President.
Okay.
He jogged my memory. I do have something to talk about. I've got a couple complaints, especially around tax time and election time, about the location of the handicap parking spaces around the courthouse and how their proximity to the entrance. They are on all four corners, and I believe the reason they're like that is because that's where the curbs are. They have a zero, what do you call that? I don't know. There's no curb there. It's a ramp. So there is a spot out here on the south side where you could move them to the center, but that would require changing the public entrance of the courthouse to the south side of the building and so on and so forth. So I told him I'd bring it up. It's worth looking, I mean, it's worth discussing. You know, I'm not suggesting we make any changes, but we need to take a look at it again. And I assured them we were being proactive with our ADA compliance because, you know, we put a lot of work into that. So anyway, and the other thing about parking is, I don't know what we need to do to get office holders to have their employees park in the county parking lot, but the amount of county employees that park around the square is ridiculous. Judges, I get. Anybody else? Parking lot.
So for the ADA, I think that's part of the plan. There's some stuff Tim's still working on, but I know when we had the kind of group meeting with the city at the police office, and this stuck in my mind because it didn't make a lot of sense. There's actually some, you can't pigeonhole the spots.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me
yeah.
would kind of contradicts itself, right? Like you would put them in the center of the closest, but
Yeah.
technically for ADA purposes, you actually cannot do that.
Okay.
So they have to be spaced out.
It doesn't necessarily need to be the closest, it's closest accessible.
Yeah,
So
so
accessible
I
is
agree
on the
that we need to
corners.
maybe look at some more fine tuning it.
Well, I knew there was a reason why they were at where they are at, because
Yeah, it's not
I don't
that-
remember them being anywhere else.
I don't think anyone
And-
said, "Hey, we're putting them in these corners," you know, on purpose, like as
And
a negative.
so the
thing.
first time in 8 years, that's the first time I've heard a complaint, but I got two of them the same day.
That's weird.
So you brought it up.
Yeah.
Two in the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I have two quick items. One, Kimberly Black from the city had reached out, just wanting to make sure if we are okay them having their Memorial Day service out here on the
Yeah.
south side of Square. We've done that in the past, assume that was good, but would bring that up. And then the second one is we have I should have done it earlier, request for leave for an employee that has not accumulated enough time. They're having surgery, so they need to take the time off unpaid. So we need to approve that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0. That's all I have there. We'll move on to our claims. Claims dated April 19th in the amount of $11,538.94. Claims dated April 26th in the amount of $18,207.57. Claims dated May 3rd in the amount of $26,036.99. Biweekly claims from May 9th in the amount of $578,529.47. And court claims in the amount of $29,808.24.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries 3-0 on claims. We have payroll from April 19th in the amount of $540,621.32, and we have an additional one on that day as well for $743.49.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0 to approve payroll. We had technical difficulties, so there's no minutes to approve this month. Our next meeting is May 21st. Is there any other business to come before us?
Motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
thank you. Started out slow, but picked
Hey,
up on
Brett.
pace.
Brett?
You got them in there at 10 a.m.
I know it.
Our people are already now.
All right, do they? I just want to make sure we knew.
Yeah, that's like anything.
all of
I'll be
it.
there to her.
Yeah.
No worries.
I just didn't want him surprising you.